second. There we go. Welcome, everyone. I am Jill Walsh, the Assistant Director at Prevent Child Abuse Georgia. Here we strive to prevent child abuse in all of its forms, and a big part of that is helping families be stronger and thrive together. So really creating that absence of abuse and helping, tear down any barriers towards family success. And so we're very excited during Parent Leadership Month, February, to have our webinar presented, Harnessing the Power of Parent Leadership. We have today a great cluster of presenters. We have Kendra Cole, our Strengthening Families Georgia coordinator from Prevent Child Abuse Georgia, and then also Melody Weaver, our newest member of our staff. She is the Georgia Family Support Network coordinator here at Prevent Child Abuse Georgia. And then we have some great partners. We have Octavia, Trammell, and Lindsey Dale. They are part of the Prevention and Community Support section at the Georgia Division of Family and Child Services. And then also we have Kimberly Fowler and Carmen Coates. They are parent representatives from the Georgia Parent Advisory Council. And we are so excited to have all of them here today. I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Kendra.
Thank you so much. Good morning. I hope everyone can hear me well and had a great start to their morning so far. Like Jill said, we are here to talk about parent leadership and specifically harnessing the power of parent leadership. So February is Parent Leadership Month. So we are talking about ways to uplift and affirm our parents as leaders. And so we'll get started with kind of just an overview of what we'll be talking about today. So we'll delve into the concept of family-centeredness practice and really just discuss the benefits of this approach and promoting the positive outcomes for both families and professionals. And we'll also define what parent leadership is and highlight how it's significant in supporting parents to take a more active role within their families and also within their communities. Then we'll explore some various different strategies and approaches to promoting parent leadership and really just supporting parents as leaders. And then also determining how parent leadership can be implemented. So we'll talk to some of our partners about some real life examples of parent leadership in action. So before we get started with all of that, we wanted to do an icebreaker. So in honor of Parent Leadership Month, we are asking, who's your fave? So we know it's not customary to have favorite parent leaders, but for the sake of this activity and just for a little fun, we are going to look at some of our fictional parents as leaders. And if you could just put in the chat, which one of these parents or groups is your fave? Which one speaks to you? So we have A, that's Kala from Tarzan. We also have Morticia and Gomez Adams from the Addams Family. And then we have Kitty and Red Foreman from That 70s Show, one of my favorites. Also one of my favorites is Uncle Phil from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I did my best to pick some classic movies and sitcoms that most everyone knows. So if there are some who have no idea, my apologies. But if you could just use the chat box to pick which one is your fave, which one speaks to you. See some Morticias, like Kala from Tarzan, Uncle Phil. Great. And Evelyn has no idea. Sorry, Evelyn. Awesome. So for those of you who chose Kala from Tarzan, so this is an extraordinary example of modeling positive social emotional responsiveness, right? So through her gentle and kind nature, it's a way that she's showing Tarzan, baby Tarzan in the picture, how to address conflict as he grows into adulthood. So for those of you who related to that, great job. So Morticia and Gomez Adams. So they, of course, even in this picture, are modeling a loving relationship for their children. And also they are known for encouraging their children's best interests. And if weird is a culture, they are excellent at modeling a positive cultural identity. And then we have Kitty and Red Foreman, again, one of my favorite shows. So they demonstrate a perfect balance of the toughness and the sweetness, and that perfect balance of love and just setting boundaries for children. And then Uncle Phil, though stern, he's also a mentor. He's also loving and very well connected in the community. So as you think of parents, please jot some more parent names and ideas of different famous parents that you know of that are great leaders in the chat. But that's a fun idea of ways of thinking about parents. Thank you for participating. So now let's talk about the family-centered approach and what that means with our partnerships with families. So really, we just want to talk specifically about the role of families in communities because they play such a crucial role in the community as a whole, and just being a building block for that community. Families play a key role in shaping overall well-being and the development of children and even others in the community. So we're in this, we're talking about the values, really just instilling those values, traditions into the younger generations, those moral and ethical principles, that guidance that's needed, that comes from families. Also that emotional support that's needed, that sense of belonging and safe and nurturing environments that comes from our families and our communities. Educational development skills really play a key role in our families itself, because that love for learning comes from within our families. So really just fostering that sense of learning and education. And also the intergenerational support that helps to bridge the gaps between one age group and another. That also comes from families. And then also families have the strong sense of responsibility, stability, and resilience. So we're talking about that economic stability, really playing a key role in providing that financial support and the sharing of resources within communities. And also, families define themselves. So as much as we like to kind of put a definition on families, it isn't a monolith. So we know that families come in all different shapes and sizes. So we know that families can be big, small, extended, nuclear, multi-generational. It can have one or two parents. Families live under one roof, many roofs. Families can be temporary and in as short as a few weeks, or as permanent as forever. So, and we also know that families happen through birth, through adoption, through marriage, and also just a desire for mutual support. So the main thing here is when we're defining or looking at what a family is, families really are instrumental in defining what family is. So broadly speaking, family-centered practice is an approach to working with families that focuses on enhancing their capacity to care for their children and meet their needs. So some other functions of family-centeredness that we're like to focus in on is the family's autonomy. So really just promoting that sense of a family being able to navigate as the captain of the ship. And also partnership, really just that idea of working in collaboration with the family as opposed to leading them, allowing them to be a part of the process in their own lives. And then the family unit itself is essential to a parent's or children's safety and development. So just understanding the role that family plays in keeping a child safe, whole, and their overall well-being is put as priority. And then again, family encompasses all kinds of families. So some key principles for family-centered practices. First and foremost, it mainly begins in partnership. So again, this refers to collaborating and having that supportive relationship between the family and the professional. And it really just involves having an understanding and mutual respect for what the family's individual goals are, what their expectations are for their lives, and also incorporating their own values into the services or care that you provide. Also, information sharing. So communication and sharing complete and unbiased information is key. So this involves affirming and providing useful, timely, and complete information to parents. Not just the information you think they might like, you're opening them up to all of the options that they have available to them, and removing any biases that might prevent you from offering those services. And then we're focused here on the uniqueness of family, again, understanding what their unique goals are, what their expectations and values are for their lives. And then also just affirming their overall well-being and their desire for an overall quality of life experience. And then here with family-centeredness, children are essential. So we know that children learn and develop best through everyday play and interactions with parents. But when we help families build and support confidence within their children, we also help to create the best environment for children's growth and development. So children, again, play a central part in family-centered approach, because if we keep children in focus when making decisions about their lives, you're working in partnership with parents, and allowing them to promote their best interests. Okay, and it's also identifying the key principle of parents as experts, really just understanding that parents are in control. They know what's best for their children and they know what's best for their families. And then also leading with a strength-based approach, meaning that we are identifying the strengths in the family before we identify those challenges and needs. And then last, that idea of honoring and respecting the parents' choices and incorporating their knowledge, their values, their beliefs, and also their cultural backgrounds into the planning and delivery of services. So some of the benefits of using a family-centered approach is that it mobilizes families to be more active participants in decision-making that affects their lives. So really just promoting that sense of ownership and strength, because families who are actively involved in shaping their lives really just have that additional boost of self-confidence, self-efficacy, and just the overall knowing that they are able to be resilient and be active members of their community. It also, family-centeredness prioritizes the needs and the values and relationships of families in various settings. And so it really recognizes them as an individual within a community that really wants and desires to promote their own well-being as well as the well-being of the community. And then again, that idea of the sense of belonging and security that comes from being or working within a family-centered approach program. And so we know that there are many benefits for working with families at using a family-centered practice. And I'll invite you to use the chat to also add some other examples of some benefits that you might have seen for using these approach. So parent leadership, we want to talk about the ways in which what parent leadership is, and also the ways in which we can amplify the parent voice as we are working with families. So parent leadership is a strength-based approach, and it's grounded in the belief that parents are the most knowledgeable about their families, and they also are knowledgeable about their communities. And so it requires that we uplift or employ parents to provide support to others in the community with the goal of achieving positive outcomes for everybody involved. So who are our parent leaders? So when we talk about parent leaders, we're speaking on anyone who is in the role of providing primary care for children. So again, we talked about biological step parents, through marriage, adoption, blended families, all types of combinations can be parent leaders. And also someone who's able or willing to make that commitment to make a positive change within their community and really willing to take on a leadership role. So those are parent leaders. And also someone who's willing to serve as a parent voice, someone who is willing to serve in a way where it helps shape the direction that the community is going. So when parents see that agencies are serious about inviting them into leadership roles, they and their families benefit in many ways. So active participation in policy and program development, or even active participation in advocacy or decision-making helps to build skills that are transferable in other professional or personal areas in their lives. So we get that sense of personal achievement that happens when we are allowing parents to be leaders. Also, the idea that doors are opened for employment or even other opportunities to serve within their community. It also offers parent leaders an opportunity to be role models for their community and also within their families, within their groups of social circles, and just for peers overall. And also provides a model for the community involvement piece. So really empowering parents to feel included in the things that are going on with their community. And then it also helps to build that protective factors. And so when we're talking about protective factors, we're thinking in terms of those factors that if added to a parent's toolkit. So these parents are able to really navigate successfully any obstacles that are that may arise. So we'll go into what those protective factors are. So again, while working with parents in partnership, it's important to remember the role of protective factors. Again, these protective factors are here to help build parents, help them to be able to navigate difficult situations and really help them to be strong leaders within their community. And so those protective factors, the first one is parental resilience. And this is in regards to being able to recover or bounce back from difficult situations. So it's just the idea of maybe being able to tread water until you're able to learn how to swim. So that idea of just being able to overcome. Knowledge of parenting and child development. So that idea that a parent needs to understand what's appropriate development for their child. Social and emotional competence of children. So again, modeling positive behavior for their child and others in their community. This is a part of that social and emotional competence. Concrete support in times of need, knowing where to turn to when they need that support. And then social connections, having friends or someone to bounce ideas off of, having that intimacy within a community that shares the same goals and ideas and are really moving forward together in the same direction. So that's the 5 protective factors, and we will move on to looking at some strategies for parent leadership practice. And I'll pass it to Melody.
Thanks, Kendra. Good morning, everybody. As Jill mentioned earlier, my name's Melody Weaver, and I'm the Georgia Family Support Network Coordinator under Prevent Child Abuse Georgia. And as Kendra said, we're going to look at parent leadership in practice and strategies that support and encourage that. Okay, so we can go to the next slide, please. So strategies that encourage parent leadership. The first one I chose was training and capacity building. Just providing programs that enhance the parents' leadership skills, their communication, advocacy abilities, and then, it encourages them to be not only successful in what they're doing, but also encourages them to continue to do that and also to share with other parents what they're doing and hopefully get them on board as well. Because we know when we have multiple voices with different backgrounds and different perceptions of their parenting, that it just brings all of that together. And so it'll touch many more people, the more voices that we have on board. And then policy advocacy training. So equipping parents with the knowledge and skills they need to advocate for policy changes that will positively affect and impact their families and families within their communities. The next one I did was peer support and networking. So opportunities for parents to connect, to share their experiences with one another, and to learn from each other. So I think one of the best ways to do that is through parent cafes, but also community conversations, focus groups, listening circles, which, listening circles are similar to focus groups and stuff, but they are a specific type of circle that's designed to help people process an event or an issue that poses a challenge that potentially could harm them or their community or has impacted them in a significant way. Usually they're voluntary, community-oriented forums aimed at providing an equitable opportunity for all the attendees to have a voice in that situation. I'm going to actually put a link in the chat. It's to the community toolbox. I don't know if you guys have heard of it before, but it's a phenomenal resource. It's very comprehensive. It touches on all parts of community serving and engagement opportunities for them to advocate for themselves. One of the topics that they have is generating, managing, and sustaining financial resources within your organization, but also on a community level. So it's information on writing grants, preparing an annual budget, and planning for financial stability, which you could use that with the community, or you could also use that within your organization. They have one that's evaluating community programs and initiatives, which just looks at information on developing a plan for evaluation methods, and using evaluation to understand and improve the initiative. So another one I chose was maintaining quality and rewarding accomplishments. So information on how to achieve and maintain quality performance, public reporting, providing incentives for the community, and honoring both colleagues and community members and champion the work that they're doing. Which brings me into the next one, which is recognition and appreciation for the community. So just recognizing and appreciating the contributions that they're making. We know as parents, sometimes it's hard to get a sitter. Sometimes our community members don't have transportation. So just them being able to find transportation to get their childcare, the time that they need while they're working also. And then also being a part of whatever it is that they want to, or we're asking them to be a part of. So just honoring that. Having flexible scheduling to accommodate diverse schedules and commitments that they have, providing virtual options and transportation options when available. And then inclusive decision-making, so being a part of the process, allow them to be part of the planning process, policy development, community initiatives, advisory boards, committees, with parent representation. We know that it shows that we care about their voice, that it matters. And hopefully it will, the intent to change the situations and things that matter most to them. And then last but not least is cultural competence. So ensure that our programs and our initiatives are culturally relevant, sensitive, and respectful of diverse backgrounds. Okay, and then we're going to look at what parent leadership looks like in practice. So I broke it down to 5 main groups. Now there may be other ones, but this was just the 5 that I chose. So child welfare rights, welfare and rights. So them participating in foster care and adoption advocacy, involvement in child welfare protection and initiative programs, collaboration with child advocacy agencies and organizations, support for children with special needs and/or disabilities, and then advocacy for children's rights and welfare. The second box is community engagement. So being a part of neighborhood associations and teams. A lot of organizations and neighborhoods are putting together teams of community members and agency partners where that voice is heard, and then they're taking it up to, different Congress people and just making sure that their voice is heard. So just another way for them to engage. Community organizing efforts, volunteer opportunities, collaborative projects and initiatives, and then advocacy for community needs and resources. The third group, education and schools. So, PTAs, parent and teacher associations, school advisory committees, parent-led workshops and seminars, involvement in curriculum development, and then also advocacy for school policies and resources. The fourth group, support and services. So parent advisory boards, parent-led support groups, collaboration with community agencies and organizations, peer mentoring and counseling programs, and then advocacy for access to healthcare, childcare, and social services. And then the last group I did was policy advocacy. So parent-led advocacy programs, engagement opportunities with policymakers and legislators, grassroots organizing for policy change, participation in public meetings and hearings, and advocacy for family-friendly policy and programs. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Lindsey Dale, and she's going to take it from there.
Hi, good morning. Give me just a minute. I'll get my slides going. Oops. Almost. There we go. All right. Hi again. Good morning, everyone. My name is Lindsey Dale, and I am a program specialist with the Prevention and Community Support section at Georgia DFCS. I have been over the Georgia PAC since the Georgia Parent Advisory Council since 2019, but we recently hired Octavia Trammell. She is a new program specialist, and she is going to be taking the reins of the Parent Advisory Council from me, and you will hear from her in just a few minutes. So the photo that you see, this is from one of our in-person council meetings way back now in fall 2022. Just to give you a little glimpse of our little group. Some of this has changed. We've had a few people roll off and join. So we'll do an updated photo soon. But so our role in creating the Georgia PAC was to create a safe space for learning together with parents. So as a section, as a division, we think it's important that parents be acknowledged as the experts in what is needed for their family. And that thinking should shift from what can I provide for your family as staff to what can we do together that creates positive outcomes for you and your family. So the Georgia PAC is a sounding board for decisions and ideas and questions that shape the future of the prevention and community support section and the division as a whole. And so our hope with the Georgia PAC is that by fostering parents in the role of expert and leader, families benefit from improved self-worth, and they are able to act as better advocates for their families. And then while programs will benefit from being more responsive and accountable to the families that they serve. Give me 1 second. Sorry, I'm having camera issues. There we go. Okay, so next slide. All right, so the Georgia PAC Planning Committee was formed in early 2019, and that was to help us form a council that we had never created before. So we had a planning committee. It included DFCS staff, DFCS case managers, staff from our section, and we also recruited 2 parents to serve on that planning committee. So we developed a flyer that we used for recruitment. We solicited applicants at meetings and through sharing with our partners, and our regional DFCS staff helped us out too. And even those 2 parents on the planning committee helped spread the word. We initially created a paper version of the membership application, and we also created an online version. That's what we usually use now, is an online Microsoft Forms application. And then we conducted phone interviews. We do pretty informal, low-key, hour-long phone interviews that we also ask different staff members to attend with us and parents from the planning committee initially. So we started out with 9 members from different regions across Georgia, and then our goal was to eventually have 16 members, at least 1 member per each DFCS region, and then up to 2 per Metro Atlanta regions, just because of the population. And then our initial orientation was held over 2 days way back in June 2019. Right, and just to talk a little bit about logistics. So this picture here, this was a few years back. This is actually some of the PAC members meeting with the then Children's Bureau Associate Commissioner, Jerry Milner. So yeah, we hold 2 face-to-face meetings per year and 4 to 6 virtual meetings per year. And we think it's important for council members to know that their expertise as parents is valued. So we do provide honorariums or a stipend. We cover childcare, and we also cover transportation and lodging cost for in-person meetings, or if there are any conferences or presentations that parents are giving that are far enough from home that they would need lodging and travel. So we continue to recruit new members. Like I said before, the goal is to have at least 1 member per region. And just to share, we currently need council members for regions 3, 8, 9, 10, and 12. And if you're not sure which region you're in, I can actually, I'll add some additional info in the chat so you can match yourself to which region. And we would love for you to share our flyer and our links. So I'll get all of that out to you. And then just to note, if in recovery, parents and caregivers interested in joining the council should be in recovery for at least 18 months. And with prior DFCS involvement, they should have their case closed for at least 8 to 12 months. And these are, I'm not going to read all these to you. I want to give everyone time. Our 2 parents that we'll be sharing. I don't want to take too much time, but this is our vision, mission, and the goals. We developed all of this together with parents as a group at one of our in-person meetings. But just to highlight our goals, participate in various campaigns and initiatives to raise awareness, participate in training projects that help strengthen families, works with PCS, our section, to provide input into written materials and build awareness about the role and value of parent voice. So those are our 4 main goals, and we review and revise as needed at our council meetings. Okay, so now I'm going to turn it over to the new PAC leader, Octavia, and she's gonna talk a little bit more.
All righty. And Lindsey, can you click to the next slide? There we go. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Octavia Trammell. As Lindsey mentioned, I am the current liaison for DFCS and the Georgia PAC. And she is kind and generous enough to continue to help and be a support to me as I'm learning the ropes. So this slide here just shows a few examples, just a partial list of the activities that PAC members have participated in since the PAC was created back in June of 2019. Just to give you a few, they have helped with reviewing funding proposals. They have presented at conferences and summits. They have helped in developing media campaigns, and they have also served on a national committee or national committees like the Birth and Foster Parent Partnership, which is also called BFPP. You can click to the next one, Lindsey. All right, and this here just shows a few of the examples of successes, challenges, and lessons learned. I won't read all of them to you, but the successes have been dedicated funding, dedicated staff persons, and then being able to help incorporation into agencies' annual progress and services reports. And some of the challenges and lessons learned have been obtaining diverse representation and recruiting parents with prior CPS involvement, along with guidelines for honorariums. All right, and this is some examples of the training that the PAC has been involved in. In Georgia, the NFSN standards training or the NFSN PAC training can help. And then NFSN standards, while not specific, train geared towards parent voices, the standards emphasize the importance of parent voicing in designing and implementing programs. All right, so this just lists a few of our trainings that are coming up. We have some coming up in March and then April, and then the NFSN standards of quality trainings are coming up in April and June. And so at this time, I will pass it to Carmen, and she will tell a little bit about her involvement with PAC. And then after Carmen, we will hear from Kimberly Fowler.
Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Carmen Coates. I'm excited to be here. And I just want to let y'all know that being a part of the Georgia PAC has been really great. We have been able to work within DFCS, play a vital role in advocating for policies and practice that personalize child welfare and protection. So I kind of bring more of my lived experience. I'm sharing more of my lived experience around mental health. I am raising now young adults with mental health. So bringing that lived experience, insight, it helps share decision-making process within DFCS to ensure that children are placed in a safe and nutritional environment. For example, parent leadership may advocate for improvement, better foster care services, trauma-informed practice for foster parents and birth parents, and better family reunification programs. So parent leadership, the Georgia PAC, collaborating within DFCS can offer a valued peer support and guidance to families navigating the child welfare system. By sharing our lived experience in DFCS and the families, we are able to connect families to resources, services, parent leadership roles that they could be a part of. We can help strengthen families' unity and resilience. For instance, parent leadership may organize support groups, host informal sessions, or provide mentorships to families involved within DFCS. I have learned so much from being a part of PAC. I've learned a little bit more about DFCS, how they are really geared towards parents being the leaders, how they are being, mindful of birth parents need to have involvement even if their child are in foster care. So I was excited when I first got the opportunity about being a part of DFCS because I have had DFCS involvement. That is one of the criteria, right, Octavia, that you have to be a part of PAC. You have to have some DFCS involvement. And
Yeah,
so, go ahead, Octavia, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, yes, you can have previous history with DFCS or have previously received services from DFCS.
Yes. And so it allowed me to be a part of being able to tell the importance of having that support if you're raising a child with mental health. It's a different type of support that you would need if you're raising a child with mental health and you get some DFCS involvement. So I was excited to be a part of it, and I'm excited to continue, and I'm passing it over to Kimberly.
Thank you, Carmen. My name is Kimberly Fowler. I am actually a foster parent out of Region 5. And being a part of PAC has helped me grow as a foster parent and has also given me the chance to be at the table with regional leadership, county leadership, and even state leadership on issues that may arise, such as partnership parenting, which to me is a big deal. And that's one of the things that I advocate for across the state. It's given me a chance to be a part of the new communicator portal that I truly think is going to help bridge the communication between foster parents, case managers, and birth parents. And hopefully because of that, we'll see more reunifications because foster parents will be willing to communicate more with the birth parents and develop a strong relationship. Because some of our foster parents they're scared for whatever reason to have that one-on-one connection with birth parents. It's also allowed me to be involved in other areas, such as presenting at the AFPAG annual foster parent meetings on partnership parenting, doing that also in our regional, for our regional meetings or our county meetings as well. And to be a part in the Octavia brought it up earlier in her slides, but funding. So I've been a part of that and for the nonprofits. So it's given me a lot of opportunity. I've been able to meet a lot of good people. It's helped me to just be present in my community, and then also bring back issues from my local community to our PAC meetings to sort of help with issues and come up with strategies and where can we get help on solutions, so to say. I'll turn it back over to Octavia.
All right. So Lindsey, will you pull back up those birth parent slides for me, and I'll just briefly share about those?
Yeah, sure. Give just a second.
All right, so this is just sharing a little bit of information about some other parent parent organizations. The Birth and Foster Parent Partnership is an innovative approach that creates authentic partnerships among parents who are advocates for policy and practices that benefit children and families. And there's a link on this slide, and I'm sure Lindsey or Jill can probably share it in the chat if they haven't already. But this is just another organization that also works hand in hand with birth and foster parents.
Yeah, this is through the Children's Trust Fund Alliance.
All right, and can you go to the next one, Lindsey? All right, and this is just another more information about that same organization. As Lindsey mentioned, it is through the Children's Trust Fund Alliance, and Carol Georgie is the contact person for that organization. And if you would like her info, we can share that. Well, it's on the slide.
Yeah, Jill put those in the chat, so thank you.
Thank you, Jill.
Okay.
All right, so Jill has already put the links in the chat, but if you would like to reach out to me directly, I'm Octavia Trammell. That is my email address on the slide, octavia.trammell@dhs.ga.gov. I saw a few of you, and I was trying to listen and write your information down at the same time. A few of you who said you were interested. So I saw Tiffany Gossett and Jennifer Staples. And I know Miss Johnson, I saw your information, and I plan to reach out to you just to gather a little more information from you as well. I saw where you said you had applied, and I remember your information because your first name is a little bit unique. So I do remember you. So I will reach out to you as well for just a little more information from you to see if we can figure something out. All right. So, does anyone have any questions for me or for Lindsey or for the PAC members that are here with us today? Oh, and Kim reminded me that you can be a foster parent or an adoptive parent as well. When I say involvement with DFCS, it doesn't necessarily have to mean that you have had a previous case or you have, previously received some financial supports. It can be as a foster parent or an adoptive parent as well. All right, it's saying, Tiffany, I see Google application is asking for a work email address instead of a personal. Is there another process?
I'll check on that. Yeah, let me go and look. That shouldn't be a requirement, but I'll look.
Yeah, we're still working out the kinks with that. So anyone on here who is interested, like I said, I got Tiffany's information and I see your email, Jennifer. But if you just reach out to me directly, just shoot me an email or a text, and then I will try to follow up with you that way as well. Because I want to make sure I get everybody, but this text is moving. I'm not that tech savvy, everyone. So I'm trying to move it around, and it's moving as I'm moving. So.
And Jill made sure your email's in the chat, so they'll be able to reach out.
Yeah, so email me if you would like to get more information.
Yeah, it looks like we had a lot of interest in it. And so someone even went to the form already. Thank you so much. But even if you want to share this within your organizations, maybe you're not a parent directly, but you know a lot of caregivers in your organization or people that you work with would want to be part of this, or even thinking of starting your own. I think what Lindsey and Octavia shared a lot of kind of process of how they put this together and some thoughts. We're going to be posting the slides to our website later today or tomorrow morning. And we're going to include those pieces in there. And you can also reach out to them. They're very generous in sharing their bylaws and how they want about this, so that people can create this throughout the state and for their organizations to have that constant feedback loop and putting some of the power more towards the parents. And I'll share the chat with you, Octavia, after this. I see some more people putting their email. Did we have any other questions for our panelist? And I wanted to ask if you've seen other examples of this throughout our state, or other kind of parent advisory groups. And Samantha asked if PCA, Georgia, or SFG uses parent leaders. We have called on the PAC. I think the PAC gets called on a fair amount for their input, but we don't have a formal separate one. Thank you, Bridget, for putting that in there. So DeKalb, they have their family peer ambassador program as well. And if you have a link of information of what that looks like to share, that would be great, so others can see more examples of that or participate. So I want to go ahead and share the evaluation link with everyone. You will need to complete this, and then at the end, it will ask if you want a certificate of attendance, and there'll be another link that you'll go to, and that way we can keep your evaluation separate and still get you a certificate of attendance. And if you have any issues with that form, because it is a Google one as well, you can reach out to us and we will help you with that. So I'm going to put the evaluation link. But if you have any questions, we're going to stick on for just a couple more minutes. Thanks, Allison. Thanks, Paige. Elizabeth, April. Bridget Radajak just put in her put in an email for more information about the DeKalb Family Peer Ambassadors. I'm putting the evaluation link in the chat box one more time if you want to go ahead and grab it before we sign off. Well, thank you to all of our presenters today for Parent Leadership Month to come and kind of help us understand how we can better listen to parents and make them in leadership positions so that we can have the best family-centered approach. So have a great one, everyone, and I'll be posting the recording and slides later today on our website. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.